Looks like a turkey.
you just wiggle the thumb?
Just wiggle the thumb, baby. Let the fat lady sing at halftime. Sure-handed. Somehow always open. Win, baby, win.
We're running the ball right here. Hey, right here. We're running the ball right here. And you know where they're going to run it, Joe? You know where they're going to run it? They're going to run it right there. Welcome, college football fans, to another Inside Insight episode, the series where we bring on a content creator or superfan that covers Miami's opponent each week so they can tell us a little bit more about their team. Now, today, I'm very happy to be joined by Joe, which is a guy that I have a lot of respect for because the Hokies have been struggling a bit so far this season, but more on that here in just a moment. What I'd actually like Joe to do is if you could tell the viewers a bit about yourself and where they can follow you.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Joe Rogers from VT4L. You guys can follow me on Twitter, VT4L_Joe. Our podcast is on Spotify, on Apple. Check us out. Co-host Don V. A lot of people know him. He's got some friends, connects in the Miami community. Our friend Drift, Trey Turner, former Virginia Tech legend. You know, he's a great wide receiver for us. And our new up-and-comer, Dilly.
Okay, now what we'll do here, guys, is as usual, I'll have all of his social stuff linked down in my pinned comment and in the description. So go check it out. And I tell everybody the same thing each week, Joe. Obviously, the majority of my viewers are Miami fans, and they always say, ooh, that's Virginia Tech. Why would I go follow them? We all need a place to go after we get the big win on Friday. You know, a place to go and talk some trash and go back and forth and celebrate. So what a better place than, you know, a hub for Virginia Tech fans to possibly rub it in a little bit. But I'm getting ahead of myself, Joe. Let's kick this off actually with just kind of a general question about Virginia Tech, not necessarily something that's specific to this game. But I don't know from a fan perspective what the expectations were for the Hokies going into 2024. I would imagine that a 2-2 start with year 3 under Brent Pry is probably not necessarily ideal. So I would just like to know, is his seat heating up a bit? Like, what's the overall vibe amongst the fans?
So it's getting real hot. A lot of fans really thought this was the year that we were going to get back to 8-4, 9-3, maybe 10-2 was the ceiling with a ACC championship appearance. That's looking like it's definitely not going to happen. His seat's getting hot. We think this is the year. Probably in the offseason, they're going to make him make some staff changes. We don't think they'll can Pry just yet. He's got a 6-year contract. This is only year 3 of it. One of the things that is really starting to pop up, though, is people are putting a lot of heat on our athletic director. This could probably be it for Whit Babcock. You don't get 3 failed head coach football hires, not in college football, not in P4 college football. So the athletic director, his seat is piping hot. I mean, it's not just the Brent Pry hire. He's had other debacles. You know, Justin Fuente. We all know how that turned out. Let Kenny Brooks go, the women's basketball coach. Let him go to Kentucky. Let Buzz Williams walk on down to Texas A&M. So the fans are upset. 2-2 is completely unacceptable. Not for a upper class veteran-led team.
Yeah, and trust me, as Miami fans, we're quite familiar with not being a big fan of the athletic director. Now, we like Dan Radakovich now. You know, we're feeling pretty good about that. But we've definitely had our fair share of, please, like, let's get this person out of here. So completely understand that. Now, going into this Friday, talking about the game specifically, quarterback Kyron Drones and Cam Ward are actually cousins, as a lot of people found out this week. So there's going to be a little bit of a family battle going down on the field. Now, do Hokies fans still believe in Drones? Because it seems like he's been a little off or something so far this season.
Yeah, that's kind of starting to waver a little bit. Our offensive line is they're just putrid this year. You can tell that they're getting pushed back. He's seeing ghosts. His timing is off. He can't get his feet set. So we know what he's capable of. But right now, a lot of Tech fans are just kind of curious. We're like, what is going on? He's just not looked the same. Regressed. He's definitely regressed, and that's what we're all starting to come to terms with. We still believe in him. Like KD1's our guy. He's the starter, and but we kind of thought that this was going to be the year that he took a step forward, led the team a little bit further, and probably went to the draft. And that's not looking like it's going to happen.
Now, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I believed a lot of the same. As a Miami fan, I spent the offseason hyping up Virginia Tech a bit and Kyron Drones. I had a lot of good, positive things to say about him, and I had this as the big, potential uh-oh game for Miami, a weekday game, dual threat quarterback, like we said, year 3 with Brent Pry. So it's just been kind of surprising to see that a bit with him. But it's good to hear that you guys still believe in him, and think that it can be something that can be corrected and fixed. Now, what would you say is Virginia Tech's biggest strength right now? But also, and this is the not fun part, biggest weakness. And this doesn't have to be going into the Miami game specifically. We're talking about just the team in general. Biggest strength and biggest weakness.
Our biggest strength this year is definitely our running back, Bashal Tootin, 7 touchdowns. In the first 4 games, he's incredible. He's not getting the ball enough. Our offense coordinator, I'm really not sure what he's doing. It's kind of the reason that we're having these really slow starts, not turning it up until the second half. But Tootin, he is by far our biggest strength. I believe he's the second leading rusher. He's in second right now for rushing yards in the ACC of all
Oh,
running
wow.
backs, first in touchdowns. So he's our biggest strength. You got to watch him. We're going to see what he can do on Friday. Our biggest weakness is it's probably the offensive line as a unit, but in general, in one person in particular, it's Parker Clements. He is our right tackle. If anybody saw the viral safety video, he's
Oh,
number
man. Oh,
70.
name dropping. Uh-oh.
That's him.
Okay.
He's the one stepping on drones, giving him a high ankle sprain.
Woo.
Uh, if Miami fans haven't been following Tech, you guys are kind of in for a treat. There's some clips of this out there. Parker Clements is second on the team with 2.5 sacks. In the Vanderbilt game, he actually literally tackled drones and threw him to the ground. And then in the Marshall game, he had a half sack. So it's kind of scary. He's probably going to be lined up on Tyler Barron, who is former Virginia Tech D lineman Woody Barron's little brother. Barron's
Ooh.
he's an animal, and he's going up against the worst player on our entire team. So that's our biggest weakness.
And I have some bad news for Tech fans. At least at this point in time, it is believed that Reuben Bain should be back for this
Ooh.
game. So when you're talking about having Bain out there, possibly Barron, Barrow, and some of those other guys on that nasty D line, that's definitely got to be scary for Tech fans.
Oh, it really is. Your defensive tackles are incredible, by the way. I was watching a lot of Miami film this week, kind of getting prepped for Friday, and that Miami defensive line is something else.
Yeah, they've been balling out, and we love the depth that we have. We have some absolute just playmakers out there on the D line, and it's been so fun to watch them so far this season. So speaking of that nasty D line, what would worry you most about this Miami team? Is it Cam Ward, the potential Heisman candidate quarterback? Is it the nasty D line? Miami specifically, what are you worried about?
I'm definitely worried, specifically your defensive line. Our offensive line as a whole is probably one of the worst in the ACC, if not the worst. Left guard, we're down to Bob Schick again. Brody Meadows has been hurt all year. Leif Gannum, he's a redshirt sophomore, was slated to start at left guard. He's hurt. He's out for the Miami game. So you're pretty much getting our third string left guard that's sliding over from right guard, Bob
Yeah.
Schick. He's
Yikes.
Chaplin, our starting left tackle, got hurt last week in the Rutgers game toward the end. He's carted off. He came back, so we don't really know what's going on. He was in blue all week. And then obviously there's Parker Clements, the revolving door at right tackle.
So can you give me an impact player for Tech that Miami fans should keep an eye on this Friday night?
I'm gonna give you a guy on each side of the ball.
Okay.
On offense, Miami fans, you probably haven't heard of this guy yet. His name's Steven Gosnell. He's playing out of the slot. He's one of those sneaky white wide receivers that you probably think is slow, but he's like our Wes Welker,
Mm.
sure-handed, somehow always open. I haven't figured that one out yet, but he's probably our game breaker on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay.
And then I'll throw it over to the defense. We got an outside backer now, young guy, Caleb Woodson. He's been playing extremely well. So those are two guys that you all might not have seen before, but definitely keep an eye out for.
So, what about a major key for Virginia Tech to walk away with a win on Friday? And it can be more than one thing, but just something major that Virginia Tech needs to do to get a dub on Friday.
Can't start slow. The fast start is the major key for us this week. We started slow every game this year. It's just, I don't know what the deal is. First half's been really bad for us, but if we dig a hole against Miami, it's curtains, it's lights out. Might as well let the fat lady sing at halftime because Miami will run away with it. So the biggest key for us: start fast, stay in the ball game. Get it close at halftime.
And funny enough that you mentioned that because I do try to take some notes and things for these videos. And my very next question is slow starts seem to be a serious issue for the Hokies so far this season. And what I have seen, but see, this is just a Miami fan, perusing the interweb and looking on some forums and Facebook groups and things. And I see a lot of Virginia Tech fans pointing the finger at your offensive coordinator and saying that it's his play calling, that he's not in sync with the offense, or he doesn't have a good understanding of the player personnel and what they're capable of. Do you feel the same way? Is there anything that you're like, okay, come on, if they would fix this or change this, maybe we could start a little quicker?
Yeah, it's definitely going on the offense coordinator, and he just doesn't game plan well. I'm not sure what he does during the week, but it's not watch film. But I mean, but it really is a combination of issues. They've come out in the first half and they kind of are trying to make Jones a pocket passer. I don't know if that was something to try and get his NFL draft stock up, but that's not his game. That's just not the way Jones plays and gets going. They're throwing a lot of short stuff to the flats out of the gate, and we just never really established the run. I mean, we have Bayshell Tootin. He had 15 carries last week, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. Every fifth carry, he's getting a touchdown. And he's not getting the ball in the first half. It's just we're kind of all sitting here looking at each other like, is this the same team from last year? Like, what? Where did where did they get this guy? So yeah, it's a combination of issues. They have a couple of changes on the offensive line. The offensive line's worse, but it's really poor game planning. That's what we're seeing.
Now, it's not his first season with you guys, though, correct? Isn't he going into year 2 or 3?
He's going into year 3.
Interesting.
We were very upset with him last year about this point of the year. They kind of start to play better after the FSU game when we were 1-3. So,
But
we
now
were upset with him.
he used to do year one. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. He was the OC and tight ends coach. Is that right?
Correct.
And then he
Yeah,
shifted over. He coaches the quarterbacks now as well, right? Like OC QB
correct.
coach.
Correct. And that's why a lot of
Hmm.
people are putting some blame on him for drones regressing. We're like, all right, Brad Glenn left, drones regressed. What's going on
I
here?
mean, that kind of adds up, right?
Oh, it's very obvious. This is the first time Bowen's ever been a quarterbacks coach. And this isn't the place, this isn't the level of ball to learn on the job.
So, what about any bold predictions for this game? Minus score predictions if you plan on possibly picking Virginia Tech to win for the upset. We'll get to that here in just a second. If you don't have any, it's fine. But do you have any bold, crazy, for fun? I like to make sure that I add the disclaimer, guys, for fun. Not necessarily predicting it'll happen, but for fun. Is there any kind of bold predictions you want to throw out there?
Yeah, there's always something crazy that happens with our games this year on special teams. Jalen Lane's punt returner. He's from Middle Tennessee State. I think you guys
Oh,
played him when he was there. He
sorry.
had a
Hold
good
on. Hold
game
on.
against you
Hold
guys.
on. I'm feeling nauseous, Joe. Hold on. Woo. Um. Okay, hold on. Need to maybe we'll edit that out. Let me get my composure back here. Okay, sorry. Where were we? A guy that likes to return things for
Yeah,
touchdowns.
he's their punt returner, Jalen
Okay.
Lane. I don't know if he'll take one of the house, but I got a feeling that he's going to do something electric on special teams again. Probably a punt return.
So I still think again that people should respect Drones and his ability to beat you with his legs if he needs to. And again, just the fact that hey, it's Virginia Tech. They do play as tough at times, so anything could happen. With that being said, Joe, I have y'all losing by 32 points. So I have
I love it.
45-13, and interestingly enough, at the time of filming this video, FanDuel has Miami as an 18.5 point favorite. So I'm going way over that, but to be fair, I've been very conservative with my score predictions so far this season. And Miami continues to prove that, hey, we're doing a lot of things offensively. They're averaging 52 points per game right now. So I'm going to give Miami a little more credit, assuming the weather holds up. Everybody's talking about potential rain and, the effects of the hurricane going up through the panhandle and stuff. So hopefully that holds off. But I have 45-13. Joe, if you want to talk numbers, you could throw some numbers out there. It's up to you.
So I was kind of checking into Miami. I believe the least amount of points you guys have scored this year has been 41. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you guys looked pretty good. It was a tough first half with USF, but they're a well-coached team. They got Alex Golish. He's from the Heupel tree, coaching
Mm-hmm.
tree from Tennessee. He was offensive coordinator when they made a good run with Hendon Hooker at quarterback. So they're not a bad coach team. They're hey, they gave Bama a tough game. So to put up 50 plus on a team like that, it's pretty incredible. I I really see you guys probably scoring 41, 42 on us. I'm going 41-22. And the reason I'm doing this is they were posting, the days, hours and seconds in the Virginia Tech locker room
Uh-huh.
when until the Miami game. And there was a clip, it was 22 and 41 that I screen grabbed. I'm like, that's the score
So
right there.
it
It's
just it
fate.
just kind of spoke to you. It just
It, it's fate.
you,
It happens.
you
You
saw
get
that and
signs
it's
from the
it's got to
universe.
be exactly understandable. Okay, okay. Now what was it? One more time.
41 to 22.
41 to
Miami's taking it.
22. Okay. All right.
It might be tight for a little bit, but it's never really going to be a threat. Miami you guys have way too much talent just across the board.
Look, here's the thing, Joe. I'm being 100% honest. I know not all these things translate over from year to year. It's just not how it works. I'm not a superstitious guy. Miami is 4-0. First ACC game on Friday. Guess what happened last year?
Let's hear it.
4-0. First ACC game coming up. Night game at Hard Rock. Miami lost. That's when the skid began, and everybody said Miami is what, the B word. I'm not gonna say it, Joe. I'm not saying the B word. Miami is
We've been saying it a
what.
lot.
That's what they said last season. They
We've been
beat it.
saying y'all are back.
They
We said y'all are back.
Joe, I'm not saying it. No, sir. No Miami fan is saying that. But we beat an SEC team, Texas A&M. We beat some nobodies. Everybody started feeling good, and then ACC play started. I think this is a totally different team this season, but it's easy for me to say that right now, 2 days before kickoff. I'm just saying.
It's true.
So,
So I got a question for you, man. All right, every year, Tech fans, we keep up with Miami.
mhm.
And every year it seems like Miami just comes out and they are just guns blazing, off to a hot start. You guys always have it seems like they always have a letdown game. I don't know what the deal is. What are Miami fans feeling this year? Do you guys, if you're looking at one trap game, who are you kind of looking at as you get into ACC play?
When it comes to a trap game, talking about just the fan base as a whole, most are actually, well, beforehand, before the season started, a lot of people were looking at possibly the Virginia Tech game just because it was a weekday game, which scares a
Yeah,
lot
and
of
we
people, myself
we
included.
thought it would be
Short
a ranked
week.
matchup too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think trap game is probably Cal. I know it's kind of weird because they dropped that game to Florida State, and you're seeing a lot of weird games this year where people are crowning teams super early. Like they beat Auburn. Auburn might not be that great, but they were like, okay, we beat an SEC opponent. We're in the ACC now, and Miami's got to travel to the West Coast, and that's a 10:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. I know for them that's like 7:30, but
It's
it's
late.
still a later game. It's traveling all the way to California. And I think as a whole, Miami fans would probably be watching that one. The big game everybody's waiting on is Louisville. Let's be honest, because we're probably going to be undefeated going into that. They're going to be undefeated most likely going into that matchup. It's going to be two ranked ACC teams facing off. Quite possibly the only ranked opponent that we see this season on our schedule. We have a pretty soft schedule, but I can't consider that a trap game because everybody knows that could possibly be a good one.
I got to give Cam Ward some props too. He's a guy that we tried to get to come to Virginia Tech before he went to Washington State. We ultimately got Grant Wells and Jason Brown in the portal. But a lot of times you'll get a transfer quarterback, they get into a new offense, takes them 3 to 4 games to get their
Mm-hmm.
chemistry down, to get adjusted before they can kind of get rolling with the team. Cam Ward has came in and he's been lights out from day one.
Yep.
And I think that says a lot about him. I think he's an incredible talent.
And there were a lot of people that weren't giving him much respect due to the fumbling issues and some other things he had at his previous team. But Dawson has done a good job building this offense around him. And I don't think anyone can deny that he looks super comfortable out there. Sometimes almost too comfortable, really, when you watch him. Seriously. So he's
He's
a.
cool in the pocket.
Oh, yeah. Very,
And
very cool.
he hasn't had to run much this year.
No, yeah, he's great at extending plays, but we always say he's a pass first quarterback. He's keeping his eyes down the field and only taking off and running if he needs to, which is where it's interesting when you look at him versus Drones, because yeah, Ward only has 12 carries so far this season for 89, and you look at Drones, he's at 52 for 209. So it is
Yeah,
kind
he
of an
might have 12
interesting.
by halftime.
Yeah, it's an interesting comparison to look at those two guys.
It really is. It's cool that they're cousins. Kyron Drones' brother plays for FSU. He's on the offensive line.
Oh,
So
good.
we'll be rooting for Cam Ward when they play FSU.
There you go. Now, I do have to say one thing you got to look out for. This isn't really a bold prediction, but if Miami gets around the 1 yard line, Cam Ward is going to walk up to the line. I know you've seen it. All right, Joe? He's going to walk up like this, and he's going to do this. He's going to walk up under center, and he's going to go, we're running the ball right here. Hey, right here, right here. We're running the ball right here. And you know where they're going to run it, Joe? You know where they're going to
Right
run
there.
it? They're going to run it right there. They're going to run it right there.
I love it,
And
man. He talks some smack and he backs it up.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's why he just kind of
He's my kind of guy.
clicks. He clicks with Miami fans because we love, yeah, we're trash talkers. We're a big trash
Oh yeah.
talking fan base. And it's not cool if you do it and you don't back it up, though, right? So Cam is someone who's doing it and he's backing it up on the field. So he's just an instant fan favorite.
Well, he's one of those guys that could have been a part of the '80s Miami teams.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
I think of like Michael Irving and those guys on the '80s. It's all about the you. You know, like Cam Ward is one of those guys. I could see him out there flailing his arms in the end zone after he
Oh,
scored.
yeah. Yep.
Like he fits in with that vibe.
All right. So, Joe, I appreciate you joining me for this Inside Insight episode. As I let people know at the beginning, make sure that you give him a follow. We'll link everything up in the pinned comment description. It'll be somewhere up above his head. I do have one more question for you before we go. Number one, I need to know what the shirt says because all I see is win, and I have no idea what it's just win.
It's just win,
Just
baby.
win. Okay.
Like word to DJ Khaled, win, baby, win. But actually, this is from my guy at SWVA shop. He does a lot of merch. He does our merch.
Okay.
Um, this is a shirt that came from Bud Foster, the Lunch Pail. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
font as the Lunch Pail. There were some VT ones that they made for a bowl game for Bud Foster's last bowl game. So this is a win. This is a win one from one of our guys that makes them.
Okay, there we go. And there are some Virginia Tech fans that watch this channel. So, hey, maybe they'll come on
Good.
over and take a look at that stuff. So, I always offer at the end of the video, if I don't know if Virginia Tech fans look, Miami has something that's known around the world. I'm not aware of anything that you guys have or do. You could throw up the U if you want. I always recommend trying it just to see what it feels like.
Hey man, we
But
we mess with Miami. We cool with them. We cool with Miami. We cool
okay,
with Miami.
okay,
But
there it
but
is.
but we always go two up, two down. Or
Okay.
VT. Or you'll see some fans in the stadium do like the turkey, like do the gobbler call.
I have never seen that. Hold on, how do I do that? Like
Yeah, like
this?
that. Yep, that's the gobbler
And you
call.
just you
Looks like
just
a
you
turkey.
just wiggle the thumb?
Just wiggle the thumb, baby.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But the VT sign, that's kind of our thing. So it's like, Virginia, two up, two down, bang.
There we go. All right, Joe. We appreciate you very much, my man.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, go Canes.